Can we talk a little bit about current situation in Mount Washington? I know like it's probably the right time to talk about it because this weekend was nuts. Obviously, that video that I think
Right?
it was Mount Washington Avalanche Center posted of this guy just tomahawking down the hill like completely uncontrolled,
Yeah.
and also like reports of it just being sketchy as shit and not very good at all. In the
Yeah.
whites right now.
We're, we're, yeah, like, I think it seems like the last few years we get ahead of our like spring skiing.
Yeah.
And it's the last 2 years, spring has sort of hit here, I'd say like a month early. So down here in the valley, it's really warm. There's no snow anymore. So everyone's like, oh, it's tux time, spring skiing. But this happened last year too, a little bit, where it's still like wintering up there. Like the last couple of days, you haven't even been able to see the mountain because there's just a cloud on it. And I don't know if it's snowing right now, but it's windy and really cold. So we're getting into that situation where, people are thinking, let's go spring skiing. And then they're getting up there and it's solid. We've had some little bit, it's been warm and then it froze and it up there. I feel like I've never felt this type of snow anywhere else, but I don't know if you've been up on that or the Sherby where it's like, it's not ice, but it's not snow. It's this like scary, like glass like texture, I
Yeah.
feel like. And you can cramp on into it pretty well, but then often you go to put an edge on it and it just doesn't work that well.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I was working Saturday and Sunday. So I hadn't had a plan to go up there just because we also saw the weather and we always look at the temps for elevation. You could tell it was cold in the bowl. But yeah, a friend of mine was at the top of chute when that happened and watched him
No kidding.
go off. And so he said there was like a group of three. One guy went down and made it. That guy, I think he said almost like on his first or second turn, lost a ski. I think he chattered out and then went down off that like buttress that's in between chute and like the skiers left of head wall. And
Yep.
that's this year, because there hasn't been a lot of snow up there, that's kind of our route up. And I've had like visions of getting like sloughed off that thing before.
Yeah.
But like long sliding fall would be terrifying. And then I guess the third person in that group was on a snowboard and he like had like rightfully so, like panic attack. And so my friend like helped him, I guess, go get collected, put his crampons back on. And like, I think he like booted down left or something because he was just
Got
like,
it.
something along those lines. But either way, and then, yeah, we were just hearing lots of stories about the long sliding falls. And, it's so interesting because you can go online, you can read the Avalanche report and they're saying, they're all saying, it's dangerous up there, long sliding falls.
Right.
But it's this weird phenomenon where people just keep going. And I always wonder, like, if it's scary hiking up, why do people keep going up, And I don't know. I mean, I feel like this is talked about a lot, but it's accessible. People pick their day. They're like, we have to go. We have to ski tux. And, I think it was interesting. And I think it was good that Mount Washington Valley Avalanche Instagram posted that. It like was I think it made a lot of people like a little ill. But, I don't know. It just like we're out there all the time and you see that happen and it's scary. But it was like a very, they're basically saying like, see, we told you it's sketchy.
Yeah, it's insane to me. Like people just think that like, oh, all that gear and all the safety precautions that people talk about, they're just being like over careful. Like you don't need that. Like, but you do. And this is like prime example of it. Like I've watched Wilkie skiing up there multiple times and he's not even skiing. He's just like fucking hiking basically. He's like got crampons on, he's got ice axe, like it has no intention of skiing the line basically. He's just like looking around looking for something skiable. And it's hilarious. So
I think this year too, just since we've had such a low snow year, I've heard more like I ended up down climbing it instead, the stories this year than like any other year in the last.
Which is smart. Which is smart. I mean, especially in those situations, especially if people aren't comfortable with it. So
But yeah, no, it's been interesting. And now it just like, what we always look for is, you need sun to soften everything. And then you need it to be like in the 50s down here so that it's like warm up there so that it melts.
Right.
But also you just never know until you go. And that's another, we always go with it with a goal or plan, but you have to know that like, you have to be very comfortable with that changing, because then I think Christian went up on Sunday and there was like 6 inches of like grapple powder.
Yeah, it looked good.
And that wasn't in the forecast. So it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's too hard to figure out. I'm not smart enough to figure it out. I basically I'm like, if somebody I know and trust is going, I will go. Otherwise, I'm like, I'm not gonna go by myself and go ski that shit. Like, that seems terrible.
Yeah, that's good. Anyway, I almost talked myself into going alone earlier this year just because I thought it was gonna be good, and I had no ski buddy. It was like a random midday week, and then I didn't go because I'm like, but I almost fell into that trap of like, yeah, but like
it's gonna be good, yeah.
And I'm like, no, your rule is you don't go alone.
Right, for sure, especially there. Sherbrooke, is it skiable? Skiable down? Did not look like it from what I saw.
As far as I know, I think over the weekend people were talking about taking their skis off at the very bottom.
Okay.
We skied it before the last warm rain event, and we got all the way down, and it was mostly an ice issue.
Yeah.
So I saw that. Pretty good. I bet they're still skiable 2/3 of the way down at least.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't been up there just because it's been cold, so I'm sure it's just like a sheet of ice.